It says Azure was made presenter. You are no longer the presenter.
Yeah, I will change it back now. I just need to show my screen first.
Okay.
Everybody, good evening, or good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to the PAS Virtual Chapter, the Azure VC presentation. Today's session forms part of the SQL 2014 webinar series. Will be presented by Microsoft. The recording will be made available on the PAS website. Just a little about PAS. We are an independent non-profit organization that's run by the community and for the community. Currently, PAS has just over 100,000 members across the world. PAS was co-founded in 1999 by CA Tech and Microsoft to promote SQL Server around the globe. Just upcoming conference, the Business Analytics Conference that takes place from 7th to 9th of May in San Jose, California. Lots of everything BI. Okay, and now I will hand you over to Sash from Microsoft to start the presentation.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, no, can you hear clearly?
Excellent. Thank you. My name is Selçin Gürsoy Türkarslan, and I'm so happy to be here with you, all of you. And again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody in the call. And today we will be talking about migration and deployment solutions for SQL Server in Azure Virtual Machines. So let's get started. And so I prepared this deck for the upcoming Microsoft Virtual Academy courses that I will be giving on Thursday morning, this Thursday morning. So you will see some, the Microsoft Virtual Academy logos. So who am I? I work as a senior writer at SQL Server team, and I performed lead writer roles for several documentation sets in the MSTN library. I am actually here just highlighting the last three that I worked as a lead writer. One is the SQL Server in Azure Virtual Machines. The other one is migrating data-centric applications to Azure. This was a collaboration effort with the Azure Customer Advisory team and also the Azure SQL database team. Before I joined Microsoft, I worked as a software engineer and developed several database and real-time applications. I myself am very much passionate about Windows Azure, and I love databases, SQL Server, and also teaching. So if you want to learn more about how you can use SQL Server in Azure platform, just join us on Thursday morning. Darmadi Como, our product marketing manager, and I will be giving 3 or 4 hours of courses. So today we will be, the focus is to help you how to so that you can just migrate your existing applications and databases to SQL Server in Azure platform. So I will be talking about 3 main things. One is the migration and deployment principles, and then I will be talking about migration tools for SQL Server in Azure VMs, and then the deployment paths that you can choose. And then in the end, I will be giving some demos too. And the demos will be in the order of in the order that I want to show the latest tools first, and then the existing tools and how you can, when I said existing tools, I mean the 2012, the SQL Server 2012 tools. But we provided 2 or 3 new wizards and capabilities with SQL 14 that I also want to highlight. So I expect that the audience of this call are developers and IT pros using SQL Server on premises and considering to migrate their existing database to Azure VMs. And also, if you want to learn more about Windows Azure, this webinar is also useful for you because I will be introducing Windows Azure as well. And if you want to deploy new databases into Azure VMs, you might still want to find these tools and the principles very much useful. So let's get started with the first module. So let's talk about the migration lifecycle a little bit, and then the planning and migration, and also the connectivity considerations for your SQL Server databases in Azure VMs, because that's a little hot topic. That's why I'm adding here. And before we go to the migration lifecycle, I want to show you the lifecycle of the SQL Server. Some people call it like a SQL Server Cloud Continuum, like an evolution. But for me, it's like a life cycle. It's a real life story. So how did we start, right? In the very beginning, we had SQL Server in physical machines, and we bought these machines, we bought the hardware, and we were happy with that, right? And we had the full high control, but over the years, we have seen dedicated higher cost because not every time we use the SQL Server machine in the high capacity because we didn't need, right? And then after a point that we have decided to go into the virtualization platform, there was a need for that, right? We needed to more be flexible, and also that we need to have provisioning of the VMs and machines very quickly. So, as a company, you might be working with a virtualization platform provider, or maybe you might be actually setting up your own data center, private data center. So, but again, you are actually just having so much control on your data, on your physical machines, and after a while, this public cloud came out. So why? Because we have realized that, the old IT professionals and developers in the world, we have realized that not all the applications actually really need to be hosted in our data centers, and not all the applications always need that much bigger space in the hardware platform, right? For some applications, the cloud platform, public cloud platform is really good. So, but we also have noticed that we are actually losing some control, but at the same time, we are actually getting some benefits in terms of the prices too. So what do we offer as a Microsoft in the public cloud platform? We offer 2 choices. One is the Azure SQL database. It is part of the platform as a service offering. The other one is the SQL Server in Azure VM. It is part of the infrastructure as a service offering. So I want to talk about the difference between these two just a tiny little bit. Okay. So the goal of the Azure SQL database is to enable the ramp-up period for new applications very quickly. You can actually just assume that it's like a subset of the SQL Server box, okay? Not because you do not have, with the SQL database, you are using the logical server. But with SQL Server in Azure VM, it is like as if the same SQL Server in your on-premises environment. You have the full functionality. If you want 100% functionality with on-premises environment, then SQL Server in Azure VM is the answer. But if you think that you have small databases and you want to just explore and get advantage of the full Windows Azure platform in terms of the websites and the cloud services, then Azure SQL database is the one. So let's move. And with that, actually, you can just build, and also what I want to actually tell you, why you want to move to cloud, the other thing is that you can have hybrid solutions in between on-premises and cloud platform, and then so that the data actually you can actually access all the data everywhere in the world very easily. So let's take a look at the technical migration lifecycle very quickly. So all the the developers and IT administrators and the solutions architects know this lifecycle. It's like a software development lifecycle, but it's a little different, right? You start with analysis. Why do you need analysis? Because you need to review your existing architecture. And with SQL Server and Windows Azure platform, then you need to decide which one to go. Are you going to choose Azure SQL Database or SQL Server in Azure VM? So in this talk, we are just assuming that you have already made the decision. Okay, this talk is not going to be focusing on which one to choose. It's going to be focusing on that we have made a decision. We are going to go with that, the SQL Server in Azure VM, so how do I do it? Okay, so you have decided you are going with the SQL Server in Azure VM, and now you need to decide application migration. So this is very easy because it's like the on-premises computer environment. It's like your existing virtualization environment. All you need to just upload your application to a virtual machine in Azure and install it. And if you want actually, you can just build an Azure Cloud Service as well. So for data migration, again, it's very easy. So in this talk, we will be focusing on data migration mainly. Again, you just actually upload your data to a virtual machine in Azure, or you can just use the existing migration tools, right? And after that, once you're in the Azure platform, just like you see in the on-premises environment, you will need to work with performance and optimization issues. It is the same thing that you are dealing with on-premises now. It's not that different, okay? Don't be afraid of this. So for example, for SQL Server in Azure VM, we provide we actually just enable you to use the same performance monitoring tools. And besides, in the Azure platform management portal, we actually just provide dashboard, and in the dashboard you can just actually go ahead and monitor the health of the VM, and also you can still use the dynamic management views, okay? And but just like you need a high availability solution in your on-premises environment, you will need that high availability solution in the virtual machines environment as well. It's the same thing. So there will be an operational and management costs as well. But again, it's the same thing that you are doing in the on-premises. It's not different. So why you want to plan, or why do we bother with Azure, right? Why do we bother with cloud? So what is the reason for that? I actually just want to highlight four benefits here. Okay, there are several others, as so many people can add, but I just want to highlight these four right now. One is the rapid development and testing. Why do we need this? Because let's assume that the idea came to your engineer's minds, right? And you want to actually explore that, whether it's going to work or not, you are not sure. And without purchasing any hardware and then you can, or the infrastructure environment, you can go and use the Azure platform for that. And by doing that, you're just minimizing the virtualization platform total costs. And also this will give you an advantage in the market, right? You can go and easily market your, very quickly market your solution, and you can be in a better position in the market. And in addition, you have this data availability and flexible mobility, because you can just you can store some of the data in the on-premises, and some of them, there are actually some data that you really want to put and keep them in the on-premises. We totally understand that. But not all the data needs to stay in the on-premises. And so let's say you put some of the data in the cloud, so you can have these hybrid solutions, and very powerful, very powerful. Windows Azure platform provides so many data centers in the world, and so you can choose the data center that is closest to you. So when you plan the migration, there is a Microsoft Assessment Planning Map Toolkit. It is very useful. I highly recommend to use to everybody because it actually just looks at your inventory and come up with the recommendations and the guidelines on what needs to be done. So the question also, there is another question coming up on the licensing issue. So what should we do about the licensing for SQL Server in Azure? So there are two options, right? One is that you can bring your own license. The other one is you can just use the SQL Gallery image. SQL Gallery image is charged per minute. When you use the SQL Gallery image, we recommend that you use the standard compute tier, and they also support auto-scaling and load balancing. And another thing, actually, cool thing is that there are several VM sizes available on the portal that I will show you later. So you can choose whichever works for you. You can start with A2, 2 cores, and you can go up later without changing anything in the VM. So this one actually, I actually talked about this a little bit in the previous slide. So I'm just going to be very quickly going over this. But here I want to highlight this. You do have two options when you want to deploy or migrate SQL Server in Azure VM. You can use platform image, right? We do have these available editions right now on the platform image, 2008 R22 and 2012. 2014, SQL 2014. All the options are default in the platform images, and you can have remote reporting services, analysis services, and integration services available for you. And we do refresh these images regularly. But once you actually just create the images, you need to patch that. For your own images, you just upload your SQL Server VM in a VHD format to your Windows Azure storage account, and then you use that image to start and install another multiple VMs. Before doing that, I will actually be giving the workflow of this. You need the sysprep. Sysprep just does the generalization of the VM so that you can create multiple VMs in the Azure platform. But with your own image, also you need to be ensuring that there is a license mobility with software assurance. So there is a very detailed information in the Windows Azure website. You need to go and take a look at that too. So the majority of our customers are asking this question. So how do I connect? Okay, I created. Before actually I go ahead and I actually want to show you the portal though. I'm hoping that this is going to be useful because it's just seeing a demo, and it's good that you can make the context and understand better. So this is the Windows Microsoft Azure. I'm sorry, it's not Windows Azure anymore because we have so many things, not only the Microsoft products. So this is the Microsoft or Azure portal. Okay, in the Azure portal, I logged in with my account, and I click the virtual machines, and then you come here. You see there are several other things. You see you can create a website. It's actually very quick to create a website here. Mobile services, cloud services, SQL databases that we talk, right? Either it was a SQL database or SQL Server in Azure VM. That's the SQL database that I'm talking. And you do have storage. What is storage? Actually, Windows Azure Storage provides 3 other types of storage options for you: block storage, table storage, and queue storage. But today's talk is not about that. And we do have HD Insight, media services, and Service Bus for connecting to your own premises, and several other things. Look at that. It's so amazing. And when you come to the virtual machines, you choose Compute Virtual Machines, and from Gallery, and I see several other things here too. It's really cool. I can see just Linux, Oracle, and Ubuntu, BizTalk Server, SharePoint Server, Windows Server. I can actually just go ahead and create any kind of virtual machine here. It's really nice. So let's go back and take a look at this. Okay. From current slide. So connectivity for your Azure VMs. So when you created a virtual machine in the Azure platform, First, you need to make sure that there is a public endpoint should be happening, should be opened in the VM. Okay, so I just actually just gave a very the high level diagram here. I'm sorry, I just missed it. But the connection can be done to the VMs in two ways. One is over the internet, public endpoints. But when I say the public endpoints, you know which port, not others, right? Because you set this endpoint by yourself. So that means when to your VM, you only can connect. And another way doing that actually, just creating a VPN and using a VPN tunnel between your on-premises environment and Azure, and joining these Azure VMs to your on-premises domain. So it is like your Azure VMs in the Windows Azure platform will look like part of your on-premises corporate environment. So let's say you have done this, and I will actually just show you on the management portal. So where is this? Okay, I click this VM. So this is my VM, and this is my dashboard. You see, I can actually just see CPU and other things. I can also monitor the VM that we talked before, CPU percentage and the network in and out. Here is the point that I created an endpoint. The remote desktop endpoint for my VM is created by default. But then I go and create the T-SQL endpoint, and I choose the private port as 1433. So I did that, right? Okay, I've done that. So the other question we get from the customer is, how do I connect to the SQL Server in Azure VMs? So in the portal, I showed you that we have that endpoint, right? So we went there and we opened an endpoint on the portal. But then inside when I logged into the SQL Server VM, I need to open up the virtual machine firewall port over there inside the VM. So that's the thing that I need to do. And also I need to create a SQL Server authentication admin. And the majority of our customers are coming and doing this, opening up the endpoint, but unfortunately they are not opening the TCP endpoint here. So they say, okay, they are unable to connect to SQL VM. That's the reason. You've got to open the virtual machine firewall. Okay, let's move on. So let's talk about the migration tools a little, because that's the thing that we want to learn today. So there are two things here. Okay, first, SQL Server provided migration tools and techniques, and the other one is the Azure migration tools and techniques. You can, depending on your application and the database needs, or your company's needs, actually, you should choose the one that works best for you. Okay, in this talk, I actually want to show you all of the things, all of the tools and techniques, and what I would like you to think about them and choose the best option. Okay, so here let's talk about the SQL Server migration tools and techniques. The one is I'm going to also do a demo, is to deploy a SQL Server database to Azure VM Wizard. So this comes with the SQL 14 for this. Another one is backup to URL. So with the deploy a SQL Server database to Azure VM Wizard, what does it do? You go and click the database and just click the deploy a database to Azure VM. That's it. Actually, in the on-premises environment, in the SQL Server Management Studio, you can just use the wizard and deploy the SQL Server database to Azure VM directly. So what about this backup to URL and restore from URL? This is a little different. With the backup to URL, what you do is do you have this backup and restore wizard in the SQL Server Management Studio, right? It's the same wizard. You actually just open up this wizard, but instead of choosing the media as a device, you choose URL. So where does this URL go? The URL goes to the Windows Azure storage. You remember that I actually showed you here the storage. Here, okay, this was the virtual machines, and here the storage. Okay, so this is the storage. Storage is like a container that you actually can use to store your blob type files, binary files, table type files. When I say the table, please do not confuse it with the relational database table context. It is a little different here. It's the file structure data type, and also the queue types. It's like storage is the Windows Azure I'm sorry, Microsoft Azure concept. So I have this storage account here, okay? So when I do use backup to URL, I am actually just backing up here, okay, in the Azure platform. I am putting my database in the storage of the Azure. Okay. Go. So what about this add Azure replica wizard?
Salsa?
Yes, please.
This is Jason.
Please.
Real quick, yeah, before you start on the slides again, could you resize your screen just a little bit? The bottom and the right side are being cut off. If you could just change the background pixel size.
Okay. Which size do you want me to change?
If you go to your desktop,
you mean this
yeah,
remote
the size
desktop?
for your desktop.
Oh, this shows very small. Oh, I just remote logged into
the remote. Yeah, not the remote desktop, but the sizing of your desktop itself. If you just go to the desktop and modify your screen resolution.
Okay, let's do that.
Because you got something that's exceeding out of.
Okay, so which one I should choose here? I should choose 1600?
If you go to the 16 by 900, that should be enough. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please
Sorry to interrupt you, but it was cutting off on a few of the slides.
No worries. Please let me know if it works now. Does it work now?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm actually very happy that you told me. I want everybody to see it. It's good. Yeah, so I was actually talking about the Add Azure Replica Wizard. So this is also a very new tool. It came up with the SQL 14. It is part of the always-on high availability solution. So what it does, it allows you to create your on-premises primary databases, to create the replicas of your on-premises databases in the Azure platform very quickly. So let's say you have a production database and you really don't want any downtime. So I actually recommend using the Add Azure Replica Wizard. Another actually just thing that you can use, you can implement Azure VNet. So Azure VNet is like a virtual network, and when you do that, you will have the connection between on-premises and the cloud platform. And with that, you can use your existing old tools, SQL Server Import Export Wizard and SQL Server Copy Database Wizard. And also, we do have this. I actually want to click this thing. I'm hoping that it's going to work. With SQL 14 release, we provided this backup tool. I'm hoping that it's going to open up. It is in the download center available. You can use that one too. You see, I mean, we are providing a lot of solutions. So this is also another tool that you can use. Okay, I just want to come back to this one. And almost everybody knows SQL Server data tools. And still you can use this SQL Server data tools to upload data and schema to Azure platform, and I will be doing a demo of that too. So how about the Azure migration tools and techniques? Not all the files or not every data is in the SQL Server control, right? It's not, because you can use Azure migration tools and techniques for SQL Server data, log, and backup files, but you can also use them for moving other files too to a virtual machine platform. So all you need to do this, you create the VHD in the on-premises environment, and for example, you want to move SQL Server data files to Azure using the VHD, and then you just detach your database in the on-premises, copy the data files, and put them to the VHD and upload the VHD to Azure. It is pretty simple to do. It's nothing to worry about that. And then once they are there, you just attach the disk to the VM, and then attach the database to the SQL Server in the VM. So that's it. So what about the data tier apps? It's the same as that you are doing in the on-premises. You can still create backpack and backpack files, and again put them into VHD, and again with the backup files and the old way of doing this. Another thing, actually, I am also going to do the demo today. Azure Import Export Service. This came very brand new. It is brand new, and it is GA, and it is pretty useful. So let's say you have a very, very big database. Let's say 2 terabyte 3 terabytes or 10 terabytes, it's very big. And you don't want to actually just incur these networking charges. And in this case, you can actually just go and use this Azure Import Export service. It allows you to move your data in physical hard drives to the Azure platform. So all you need to do is just create the hard drive and put your data in it and use the FedEx courier and then just ship it. So of course, you know, the hard drive is BitLocker encrypted, and also the transportation also is done very safely. So there is nothing to worry about that. And another thing actually just you can use as part of the Azure migration tools, when you do remote desktop, okay, hang on, I will actually want to show you this. Let's go command here. Okay, this is my remote desktop. So I was here, virtual machines, right? This is my virtual machine. Okay. So when I click that in the dashboard, okay, somehow my monitor right now is interesting. There is a connect button here. Actually, before I go that, I want to show you how to create a VM. Maybe it's better to make that connection. Okay. But I will be just very quick because it's like I don't think we have too much time. So you come here, new, from gallery, and we will be creating a new SQL Server VM here. Okay. And I'm choosing SQL Server 2014 RTM standard. Can you see my desktop though, by the way? Test.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, test. Let's say pass. Pass VM. And I'm choosing standard because that's what we recommend, especially if you want to do high availability. And now, okay. Okay, I'm just clicking this one. So here I'm just going to use the cloud service. This concept is an Azure concept. It's just a container. You can just have more than one virtual machines under the cloud service, and also you can have your programming logic too if you want to in the future sometime. This provides just a private IP address that all the VMs can talk to each other as if like they are in a private network in the cloud. So we have this DNS name. It is important. This is very important actually. Right now, maybe for those of you do not know the Azure platform, but this is the DNS name that you will be using when you need to connect to the VM from your on-premises environment if you do not set up the VNet. Here I'm going to choose West US because I am in Redmond. And we're just going to create the automatically generated storage account. And for availability set, this is also Azure concepts. Please do not confuse this with the always-on availability groups. This is different. But the goal of this is to support the high availability for SQL Server solutions, actually. So that's why maybe the name is a little, close to each other. So what happens with that? Actually, the description also is very good here. When you create an availability set, the virtual machines, let's say you have 2 or 3 database virtual machines, and then they are just deployed across the fault domains and update domains. So that means when one of them is down, the other one is going to be protected. So when I say it down, means it could be hardware issue or the operating system issue. So let's move this. I am just going to create only one VM, so I'm not choosing the available set. And I'm clicking here. You see, it is working here. This is just, it says creating a virtual machine. But I'm not going to wait for that. I will be just connecting to this one. The portal gives you an RDP file, and you can connect to it. that's it. So this is my VM in the Azure platform. This is how I connect to it. Okay, so I was actually talking about the remote desktop. So that was the remote desktop that you can use as a copy paste. There is an option in the remote desktop options, and you can just go and use that to open a share for your VM. And also, if you set up the Azure VNet, you can just do the copy file, copy share. So let's talk about the deployment paths a little. There are different things that you can do. If you bring your own SQL Server, you can create an Azure VM. And let's say let's say you have the SQL Server virtual machine in the on-premises environment. And you go and create a SQL Server VHD with that. And then once you upload this to Azure platform, you can create one Azure VM with this. And then, or you can have, again, SQL Server virtual machine in the on-premises environment. But when you do sysprep on this, you generalize it, and then you upload it as an image to Azure platform, and you can create multiple Azure VMs. Or you can just go ahead and create a Windows Server Azure VM in the Windows platform, and then you can just upload your SQL Server setup disks to this VM. Or you can just actually, again, create the Azure SQL Server VM, but instead of uploading, you can just transfer your SQL Server data files, even the setup files, via Azure Virtual Network. And also there is a very powerful commandlet. It is called add Azure VHD. That's the thing you can use. Another thing, actually, I want to show you how you can get this. Hang on. So, okay, this actually connected to my actual machine. But, okay, I'm just going to minimize this, but I want to show you a little bit the portal too. Tough. Okay, so in the portal, when you come here, just come to the download section, and you will see several SDKs and also the PowerShell commandlets here. Yeah. Okay. Close this. Okay. So if you actually use the platform provided SQL Server image, then all you need to do is just, you can use the new 2014 tool, Deploy On-Premises Databases to Azure SQL VM Deployment Wizard in the SQL Server Management Studio, or just one of the SQL Server migration tools. And maybe you can actually even use your own scripts too. Okay. So we already actually have talked about this a little, so I'm just gonna pass this slide very quickly. We talked about license mobility, an empty VHD file using Hyper-V Manager, and we also talked about the Azure VHD. So I'm just moving this. So we came to the demo. So this is the fun part, and just in case, I actually just pasted all the screenshots here. But these are the demos that I want to show you. One is the deploy a database to Azure VM. The other one is backup to URL. The third one is Azure Import-Export Service for large databases. And fourth one is SQL Server data tools to upload data and schema to Azure. And hopefully we will have time, and we will be taking a look in the uploading data, log, and backup as in VH2 to Azure too. So let's go take a look at this. Deploy a database to Azure VM. How do we do that? Okay, so this is my, okay. So this is my test DB, and I connected to my SQL Server database in my on-premises computer. This is my Celsius T9. This is my office computer. It's not in the cloud. So I come here, and I click Write Tasks, and then you see I have actually two options here: deploy database to Windows Azure SQL database and deploy database to a Windows Azure VM. Since I know that this presentation, we have already made the decision, we are going with the SQL Server in Windows Azure VM, I'm choosing this. And the wizard is pretty much helpful. It gives you a lot of information. I click next, and I click my source computer. Here I can use Windows authentication. This is good. And now I can choose my test database. Click next. And here it is asking me how it can connect to Windows Azure. So it is asking me that I should create a management certificate. How do I create a management certificate? There is a very useful tool in the Windows toolkit, as far as I remember. It is called makecert.exe. It's called, and you can find it. And also there is so much information in the windowsazure.com, also in the MSTN library. So I created the certificate before. I have so many actually here. So I'm just going to choose the certificate that I created for this one specifically. This is the one, deploy wizard. Okay. And then it is asking me to choose the publishing profile. What is the publishing profile? So, if I click that, I can actually just get one of the publishing profiles that I downloaded before, or I can just click the sign in button and get the new publishing profile. For now, actually, I'm not going to publish, because the reason is I'm not going to sign in, because the reason is that this currently in the RTM release, the deploy database to Azure Windows Azure VM wizard, it only accepts a certain version of the publishing profile file. So I'm just going to use the one from my local computer. But what does this publishing profile include? I want to actually explain this. It includes your subscription ID, and let me actually show you on the portal so that we can just make the connection here. Okay, let me minimize this, and I want this actually very good learning experience for all of them, for all of you. So send to click here. Okay, so you see you have subscriptions here. I do have a lot of subscriptions, but currently I'm using only this one. And when you create an account on the portal, you will have your own subscription. And I'm having actually this Microsoft account. And in the background, so SQL Server accesses the storage. So for storage also, I do have another key access. You see, only you can access this, not everybody else. So you're pretty much, very much secure actually. Okay, so the publishing profile gets those information from Azure, and then it allows you to upload your database to Azure VM. So I want to choose this one. I remember this one. I think that was the version. And then here I'm going to choose this subscription ID, because this is the one that I want to upload my database, and I click next. Okay, here I want to choose pass VM. Hopefully, oh, okay, I think it is already created. I hope it's going to work. And for this, I will just choose this one. Let's click this. And look at that. This is actually another important thing. This is a private port just for this wizard. Do not change it. Oops. Verify the original endpoint configurations. Okay, it is possible that maybe this did not start yet, so I'm just going to use one of my existing ones. Okay, maybe I just got the, okay, let me try this. Okay, if it doesn't work, please forgive me. It was working yesterday, I promise. Okay. Well, this is interesting. This is live. Okay, I hope it's gonna work this time. Anyway, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so so this is the thing that I actually want to show you here how it's gonna look. Okay, so current slide. So this is the one that I chose, and here you actually just chose this one, and you just entered your database admin, and in the end it should show up like this. Since I actually just published my database yesterday, I think I can go ahead, save this, sign in to my virtual machine, and show you that it's really there. Okay, so this was, did I log into this one already? Probably logged into this one. Okay, so this is my VM. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to log in from my desktop computer right away. I think it's going to be much, much better. Okay, so here I come, portal, and I enter. Okay, this is the virtual machine. This is the one, dashboard, and connect. Okay. So I uploaded this test database yesterday around afternoon time. So let's see. It is possible to override it, but something actually there over there didn't like it. It's probably the publishing profile file didn't like it. Okay, now I'm connected to my SQL server in the cloud. Server Management Studio. Here I come. Okay. You see, I can actually connect to this, and by using Windows authentication, that that when I created the VM, I set up also the test admin user account. So this is the account that I can use here. But to connect to the SQL in Azure platform, you have to use the SQL Server authentication. It's not going to work. But you can just use this from the internet. You need to use the SQL Server authentication. But for now, I can use this Windows Azure authentication. Here it is, my test database, and all of my tables are here. So I'm closing this, going back to, okay, so this is the Azure Import-Export service. So for this, you need to go to the storage area that I showed you. And in the storage, there is a quick glance section, and there create an import job. And once you actually prepare the hard drive, so this is another way that we talk about this Azure Import Export service. It allows you to put your data in a hard drive, and then you can just ship the hard drive to the Azure data center, and just it will help you, just to upload your data to Azure platform in a very, very safe and also easy way. I mean, it's just the old way of doing things. And then here, and also when you do that, you come and create an import job at the portal. By creating an import job, you tell the Azure that, okay, you are going to send this hard drive and get me the necessary information, or help me to find the necessary the contact. And the wizard will ask you create an import job and what you need to do, and you actually choose also FedEx as a courier, and then you provide the contact details, and then you attach the vhd.jm file. It's like the journal file, and to this import job, so that the Azure data center will know which kind of hard drive you will be sending to. There is a lot of information on this on the windowsazure.com. You can go ahead and take a look at that too. So another one, actually, it comes with the SQL 14. It is the backup to URL. With backup to URL, you just come and choose in the backup database window, you choose the URL, and then the SQL Server Management Studio just creates this back file for you automatically. And then you create the Azure credential. Here it allows you to create the Azure credential. It is necessary to make the connection with the Azure storage. And then you just deploy it. So let's go and take a look at that very quickly.
Selson, as you're getting started on this demo, just giving you there's about 7 minutes left for the hour.
Yes, exactly. So what do you recommend me to do? Yeah, because I actually have other things to show too. Maybe I should just go from the slide, not from the demo. Do you recommend me to do that?
Yeah, and then we can, if you want, we can have you back to demo some of these other pieces in the future.
Yeah, sure. Then let's do that. Okay, yep. So this is the backup to URL. I actually just pasted all the screenshots just in case if the time is not right, or if something does not work. So when you click here, in the previous slide, there is a create button for the SQL credential. The create credential window pops up. Here you are actually specifying the secure connection with your storage account in the Azure platform. Again, I told you about the the management certificate and also the subscription ID. I actually showed you this before, so it is easier. It is an easy concept right now. So, and then once this works, you click the create here and then the OK here, and when you go to the platform, you will be able to see this backups container in your storage, and then so that means your backup file, SQL Server database backup file, is in the cloud platform already, and then once it is there, you need to log into the SQL VM in Azure and just do the restore database. But again, as a backup device, you choose the URL and you specify which storage account does have your backup file with the account key that I also showed you before, and then you just create the connect and restore it. Okay, and you see that in the containers, you can see the several backup files, and you choose the one that you want to restore, and that's it. So backup to restore from URL. It is very simple, actually, very simple to do that. Another thing, actually, is you can use your existing SQL Server data tools. That we have been using SQL Server data tools for a long time for backpack and backpack. Oops. Okay. So with that, in the SQL Server Management Studio, go to the Export Data Tier application, and here choose Save to Windows Azure. It's very simple, isn't it? And you choose the storage account. Again, it's the same logic. We are always talking to the storage account. And when you want to, when you're, let's say in the SQL VM, when you want to import this, you just choose the import from Windows Azure. Again, you choose the storage again, and then you get the data, both data and schema actually, since you are dealing with the backpack file in this example. And at the end of the operation, it's done. And again, very old, traditional way of doing things is the VHD. Just upload your data and log and backup files to the VHD, and then use the add Azure VHD commandlet to upload this to Azure platform. I'm just going to be very quick. So I am assuming that you came and created the virtual hard disk in the computer management or hyperware manager. Currently, we support only VHD, not VHDX. When we say V, I mean the Azure platform. And then these are some PowerShell tools that you can use. And so it's just very simple. Just open up the Windows Azure PowerShell and get Azure publish settings file. Again, we talked about this. Get the publish settings file. It will create a secure connection between your own premises and also the Azure platform. And then run the add Azure VHD. That's it. And then once you are in the, I actually want to show you this because it is cool. I love this part. Okay, so this is the virtual machine part. This is the one. This is the one that I actually just created before. Here, actually, you can create an empty disk or an attached disk. And an attached disk sometimes actually it will be your SQL Server data files, or it will be your SQL Server setup files that you uploaded from the on-premises environment. So you can just attach this to your existing virtual machine, and you can have your data and setup files right away. Or maybe, you created this, oh, excuse me, I need to just plug in. You can just attach empty disk as well because you need a bigger space. So this is also very useful. Click the attach empty disk and then we're done. Yep. I think I am done with my presentation. And thank you very much for having me today. I really appreciate and I really enjoyed. Is there anything else I can do?
We did have one question in there that we weren't able to answer as time was going on. People were asking if they would be able to get the slide deck. Or is this the same slide deck that you're using for your Virtual Academy session? Salson, did we lose you there? Okay, it sounds like we might have lost Salson there. We will find out about getting the slide deck, as she mentioned at the beginning of the session. This is the Virtual Academy. You there?
Hello, I am here. I lost you a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, the question that came through was asking about whether or not people are going to be able to get these slide decks.
So we will be giving all the slide decks on Thursday at the Microsoft Virtual Academy. I will be giving 2 additional courses. This will be the first one between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. on May 1st in the Seattle Pacific time. And the second one is the application patterns for SQL Server in Azure VMs. And the third one will be developing a cloud services application, ASP.NET application with SQL Server in Azure VM. It will be in a hands-on lab format. So I would like to see everybody there.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, folks, we are out of time for today. There is one other question in there. I will forward that on to you, Selson, and then we will connect in. It's a question regarding big data and on-premise and cloud deployments, but we just don't have time to get to that today. Just so everyone on the call knows, we are reviving the Azure Virtual Chapter. We're going to start having twice-a-month meetings. There will be a name change to the Cloud Virtual Chapter for PASS. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and look forward to having people join us in the future. And thank you very much, Selson.
Thank you very much. And it was my first webinar, and I loved it. Thank you.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, Jordan, right now. Joining and hanging up. I've got two things that are crossing at the exact same time. Hey everyone on the webinar, I've stopped the recording. I do need to get running for another meeting that backs right up to this.